Hi everyone, it's Martha. Hello. Thank you for being here. Today we are going to play with a few things, maybe. I always say that and then I run out of time. So here we are. This is about the faux handmade paper, part 2. Ta-da! So, it's been a while, and I apologize for that, between, having an order for 3 journals, and then getting some ephemera folio orders in, and Christmas, and Happy New Year, everybody! Happy 2020. I hope your holidays were wonderful. Between all that, I have been a little swamped. So I am here. I've been really anxious to get back to work on these. And I actually used one of my sheets in a cover, which I don't have because it's gone. But this is the sheet that I cut up. And this was done, I believe, on just a regular piece of copy paper. Because I used several different papers on my experiment the first time around. And these papers, these bits are what are left from that piece of paper. And I really like this. And I don't know if you can see, but these faint pink and yellow marks in here. Let me get it up to the, shine the light and get it up to the camera. So the pink and yellow marks, like over here, those are actually from the napkins that come off your, it's the layer of napkin that comes off when you have a 3-ply napkin. It's the layer that's immediately against the napkin. So let me pull one out here. Wrong bag. It helps if you have the right package of napkins to show you. Sorry about that. I've been also spending a few days, because that's how long it took, organizing, trying to clean up my mess from 3 journals and 5 ephemera folios. So I don't know if you can see on this one, there's blue and yellow. And then that one's very faint. This one is little blue flowers. And I don't know, this one might be easier to see. Let me see. I don't know if I open it up if it's easier either. No, it's not. It's definitely easier to see when there's multiple layers underneath it. This one. I hope you can see these. I don't know if you can or not. It's hard for me to tell looking in the lens or looking at my iPad as I'm showing you. But anyway, you get really faint bleed throughs, and this is the best example, of course. This is from a red sunflower napkin, red and yellow, and of course you can see that one. Now that's not the napkin, that's not the top layer, that's the second layer that's next to it. So this one is going to show up quite dark, and I don't know if I will use this type of napkin in this application with the faux handmade paper. But there are really cool designs that come. So my husband and I, yes, I have trained my husband how to peel the layers off of napkins. Oh, here's one. Maybe that one will show. Can you see that one? So my husband and I sat one day for, I don't know, maybe an hour. Maybe not that long. I don't know if his attention span's that long. At least not for this stuff. We sat at the kitchen table and we peeled off several packages of napkins, and this is all of them from that session. But this isn't all of the napkins that I have, napkin backs. So you have the layer right next to the napkin, and then you have the third layer. The third layer I stamp on. I love stamping on the third layer of napkins. So I'm using those for stamping on, using my rubber stamps, clear stamps, cling stamps, whatever you got. And it's like having a napkin and tearing around it, and then you glue or Mod Podge or matte medium with a brush over it, and it sort of blends into the background of the paper. So I love doing that. That's one thing that I do a lot of, as you've seen on my collages. But this application, the only thing about this is I don't know how well this will hold up as a heavy duty or under a heavy duty use. Now, I will tell you that I used, a bit of this, a piece, maybe, that big, on a cover with a cardboard back, but I put other things around it. And I used, I believe I used Collage Page or a matte medium, another layer of matte medium. You can put 2, 3, 4, 5 coats of matte medium on it. It'll help strengthen it, but I would not use this as the main thing on the cover. It's unless you figure out a way to really preserve it, or it's not going to get a ton of use. I don't know about tags and journaling cards. I haven't experimented enough with it, but I'm really enjoying the outcome of this stuff. And if you ask me, this is a clear zipper pouch, and Walmart had these, and I bought like 150 of them because I think they were, 89 cents or 99 cents or something like that. And I bought like 150 of them because I use them for everything. My dies are in them, my stamps are in them, leftover papers are in them. I use them for a lot of things. So there's that. All right. This is a cream colored cardstock. This is one of the ones I did. And like I said, I experimented on different papers. So this is a cream color cardstock. And there are 2 layers of napkin over most of this except this strip here. And I will explain that in a minute. It's still very, very textural. You can rub your hand over this and feel everything underneath it. There are some bubbles where I did not get the first one glued down tight enough to things like these leaves. All the leaves have bubbles over them. I'm okay with that. I mean, it gives it a depth, so they look like they're further behind than some of the stuff that sticks up closer or is darker. So there's loose tea and bits of plant and bits of leaves and tea bag, used tea bags torn up. There's string, burlap string. There's gold thread here. There's gold thread here and gold thread here and black thread here. So I've used a lot of things in this. And so this side, I wish you could feel it, but you may be able to see. See how you can see the leaf a little clearer right here? And then here it gets fainter. And that's where that second napkin ends. You can see the 2 edges right here. And what I found out is, even though when you go to lay that second layer of napkin on, you think, but I'm not going to be able to see anything through it. You can. Because the glue and the water absorb into the napkins and you can still see through it. But I do feel that the extra layer of napkin, especially when you have a lot of bumpy things in here, really, really helps secure the top. And I will probably go over this with another coat of either glue and water or Collage Page or something, matte medium. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I'm going to experiment and see what I want over the top of it. But again, you can see when this got wet, I don't know if you can tell, where was it? There's a bit of pattern from the napkin, like right up here, and this reddish orangey part right there, and there's different areas in here where it's definitely these little red and white stripes. Those are from the napkin, but they're very faint. It just adds a pop of color in an otherwise very earth-toned piece of paper. So there's that one that's all done and dried. This one, and I have not, we're going to remove these. Now this did not stick to my freezer paper. None of them did. They all, once they were dry, they peeled off from the freezer paper. So we're going to cut around the edge of this and just, that'll be our piece of paper. This I did on tracing paper, and I really like it because the flip side of the tracing paper actually shows the pattern of the plants through it. Now, it does not show the pattern of the napkin, but it shows the copper thread I used. It shows the leaves and the tea, and it shows a lot of the stuff right through the other side of the tracing paper. I am going to make more of these because I really like this effect. This one only has one napkin on it, and I'm going to demonstrate how I put the second layer on because I do think it needs a second layer. There's a lot of bumpy things here. Now this napkin had, and I don't know if it'll show, it had a butterfly on it. It's right there. So I don't know if you can see that or not on the napkin part. But that just very faintly shows through. You really have to see these in person and give it a try. And it's so easy and fun. It's kind of like you don't even have to think about it. Like even in collage, you have to think. You really don't have to think about it. You just have to make sure you don't put too much on. Too much makes it too busy. So I think I did a good job on this, even if I do say so myself. And then I have some more paper here. I have a watercolor paper, but I want to do some more of the tracing paper ones. And I think I am going to make a couple of more. And I did go through, I remembered, thank you to the subby who mentioned it, I remembered that I had gone out in the fall and clipped some leaves, picked some clover. This is lavender. This is off of a plant that has red berries on it, and they're purple stems. Now, these are going to be very bumpy, and I don't think I can use the stems, but I'm going to pick the flowers off of these, I think. This is, I can't remember. It might be azalea petals. No. I can't remember what these are, but they're kind of cool. And they're very flat, not bumpy at all. Even the stems, well, the stems are a little wiry feeling, but they're going to be okay. I have these leaves, which are sort of purpley leaves. And I don't know if I'm going to use these, but these are the azalea flowers on an azalea that blooms in the fall here. I never saw that before, but ours does in our front yard. And some of the leaves are brownish and some of them are purple. And if you guys don't know, purple is one of my favorite colors, like my favorite color. This is some stuff that I used already in these, as is this stuff. And this is more little bits of lavender. These are red leaves that are quite stiff. Now, I did not, these things are all dried in, I put them between parchment paper and put some really heavy books on them. All of these are dried. I don't know if that was the proper way to dry them, but that's what I did. And they're very, very flat, which is great for this application. These I did not dry. I just picked them and started using them, but they were kind of dried up anyway because it was after the cold hit. And then I have some more of those little flowers and a little, I think this is off of a impatient or something. I don't know. It was something that was growing in a pot outside, and it was the only flower on there. So I don't know that I'll use that one flower. And then this is my loose tea. And I have some threads, and I have some burlap bits, you know, threads from burlap, pulling it off of burlap. Some other threads, the used tea bags, and I have copper thread and pink thread over here. And I have the napkin backs. Now, oops, and I have stuff sliding everywhere, even though I organized and cleaned up. Now I have a mess again. I am using, this is freezer paper with the shiny side up. I also have some very crinkly paper. This is the backing from when I make covers for my journals, and I use iron-on, like Heat and Bond. It has a sticky iron-on glue on it on two sides. And when I take the paper off the back to iron it on, this is what I get. It's like a really cool parchment paper, but it is, this side is slick. So I don't really know other applications to use it for. I could sew up baggies, little bags or envelopes with it, but glue could be tricky with that. So I don't generally tend to use it for that. So, let's see. All right, so I'm going to put a second layer of napkin on this. Actually, I don't know if it really needs it. I think what I am going to do is put a, I don't know, I kind of like it the way it is, and I don't really want to make it heavier, but I might put a protective coat of Collage Page over the top. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And Collage Page is really runny. I do have paper towel and brushes here to use. I want to get this as dry as I can, which isn't going to be very dry, really. Okay. So I've warned my husband and my son. My daughter never calls me, so that's not anything to worry about. But my son, actually, let me put it in here. I've started using the jar cover from a peanut butter jar to put my glue and stuff in, and it works a treat. Boy, I'll tell you, it's just right. Repurpose, right? So I've warned my son and my husband today, both, that I'm video recording and I do not want to be bothered. We'll see how long that lasts. If I have to turn the video off and then load it to my computer and edit two together, so be it. But anywho, now this is not supposed to be a shiny finish, but I do find it has a bit of shine to it, but that's okay. I need the protection over the top, I think. Because the paper is so thin, I want to do that. So I'm putting that, and I have to keep an eye. I have one of those oil heater, radiator shaped heaters over near my door in my sunroom, and I try to be frugal with this stuff. I have to keep an eye on it because I have another one of these sheets sitting on top of it drying. I don't want to start any fires. That would be a bad thing. That would be a big interruption to me recording, right? So as I said, I hope that all of you had a good holiday, whatever the holiday is that you celebrate. Okay, I'm going to go put this on the heater. If the other one is dry, I'm going to take that off and bring it over here because I really like that one too, and I want to show you. No, come here. Okay, I'm here. I'm not gone. So this one is dry. This one I put a second napkin on right before I turned the camera on because it's really lumpy bumpy. And I did not want to take a chance with any of this stuff breaking through. I like the napkin I used on top. It had yellow flowers on it. And it is tea stained paper, I believe. It's probably no, I think this is cream colored copy paper is what it is. That's what it is. So I'm going to show you, there are 2 layers on here, and the second layer is the one that I just put on it before I turned the camera on, laid it on top of the heater. That's the one I was keeping an eye on. The other one almost slid onto my floor. And you know when you glue something and it falls to the floor, it's always going to fall glue side down, right? So Murphy's Law. So you could tear this off, I imagine. It would depend on the strength of the paper. But I'm just carefully trying to cut it without cutting into the paper. Just cut the edge of the napkins off. Now, if you do this, if you don't have freezer paper and you do it on another kind of paper, I can't remember, and I'm really, really sorry. When I watched, I believe it's Natasha at Treasure Books. I think I got that right this time. When I watched her, I can't remember the kind of paper she used, but when she cut it, like hers stuck to the paper, when she was gluing the napkins down. So the edges of the paper stuck to the paper, but when she cut the napkin off like this, the backing fell away. Not the paper she glued to, but the paper she was gluing onto, her bottom paper that she was using. That fell away. And so you can go over and check out her video and see what she used. I find that the shiny side up on the freezer paper, sorry, blank, went totally blank, don't know why, totally blank. Oh my gosh, I am not awake today. But it fell away when she used it. But this lifts right up from the freezer paper, even when it's still wet. So yes, this is a little wonky, but you can put it under heavy books and it'll straighten right out. You can even put it between, you know, a sheet of paper like this and put some heavy things on it, and it'll straighten right out. I have these big nature encyclopedias over there, which have awesome pictures in them, and they're awesome for weighing things down. So it straightens right out. Oops. So you can see this one. It's cream colored copy paper, and I love the crinkle because it's texture. It's more texture. And I really love the way this came out. So that's the back of it. There's a bit of faintness to the back of it, but you could glue this down onto cardstock and it could be a beautiful journaling card, or it could be something on the front of an envelope, or something that you stick down, a pocket that you stick down, and you could put other things around it, and this could be like a background for that. I mean, I'm going to be scanning these because you don't get the texture and stuff, but you're going to see that texture when you scan it. So I'm going to be scanning the ones that are my favorites, like this one. This is going to be one of my favorites. It's very heavily done, whereas this one is also heavily done, just not as heavily. And then the one that's over on the heater right now, and the other one that I showed you, this one I really love because it's on a white background. You can ink it as I did here. And that, again, that pink is from the napkin, because it shines through when you put the wet glue on the napkin. It makes the white sort of disappear, and any color on that is going to shine through. So you can ink it, and the edges take the ink really well because they're rough, and it's just so much fun. These are so much fun. They're addictive, and I couldn't do them for a couple weeks after I did these because I was just too busy and tired. And yeah, so that's how that went. But I'm going to be making a lot more, and like I said, I'm going to scan these, and I'm going to put them in my shop as digitals. And if you want to give them a try, I would suggest, if you don't want to make your own, or you don't, you don't want the plants and stuff, you don't want to mess with those, or you don't have anything right now because you're under 6 feet of snow, whatever the case, I'm going to be scanning these and putting them in my shop. They're not there yet. Don't go looking. I am way behind on stuff for my shop. I am going to be sewing more ruffles, and I am going to make a few more of these and scan them. I have some wonderful, very old music sheets and a very, very old ledger. Sorry, I can't cut, breathe, and talk at the same time. A very old ledger and a few other things that I'm going to be scanning as well. I have to reorganize my computer setup and my printers and rearrange my sewing machine to another wall. My printers are across the room from my computer, and I can't scan and not be at my computer. It's complicated. I have an HP printer with the Insta Ink refill, which is okay. I know a lot of you really love that printer. I don't. I have not liked it since I got it, and it scanned, I think, the first month maybe that I had it, and now it won't scan. It tells me I have to download an app. I don't want to download an app. I don't want to have to mess with all of that. And it should just scan because it's connected to my computer, but it won't. So I have to use my older Epson, which does not have the eco tanks to it. And when I can afford it, I'm going to get a different printer, possibly a Canon. I've heard some good things about the Canon refillable tank. Now this is still really bumpy and textural, but that's okay. I think this would hold up because it's cardstock. And honestly, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't make a whole cover out of this. Like I would not fold it in half and make that the cover necessarily, unless I did a lot more protection on it. But I guess you could if you wanted to. But as I did, I took a piece of cardboard and I put gesso on it, and then I put this paper on it, and I put some other things around it. I don't even think I have a picture of it, but if I do, actually there's a video of it. There's a video of that journal. It's the finalized December journal that I was working on, not a December daily, but it was purchased by a friend, and she's extremely happy with it. Whew. I always worry about that. I mean, I just always worry. Always. Always. So, I have here, I am going to do another tracing paper, like I said. I have a piece of white copy paper, but the other thing I wanted to use is, now this is a really awesome drawing paper. It feels really awesome. I can't even explain it. Almost feels cloth-like. And I am going to, now this is it's larger than 8.5 by 11. It is 62 pound, 100 GSM, 9 by 12, or 22.9 centimeter by 30.5 centimeters. It's called Royal Langnickel Essentials. No clue where I got it. No price tag on it. No clue where I got it. Probably have had it a long time. May have picked it up maybe on sale in Michael's. or Joann's. Don't know. But it feels so nice. And I want to try that. And I was going to try a watercolor paper. So let's play around a little bit with that. Now, I have some water and glue in here, but I'm going to add more because I found when I did the first ones, the glue was dry almost before I could put anything else on it. So I really should just take the cap off this. Why is this? Oh, twisted it the wrong way. It can't come out if it's not open, right? So I am off screen. I'm sorry. I have been trying all sorts of angles and positions with my iPad, and I don't know. I'm not happy with it. I've thought about getting a different camera, getting a webcam. I've talked to several people. Thank you, Susan. I don't know if you watch, but I appreciate our discussion. I've looked on YouTube, and they say a Canon M50 is wonderful for vlogging. But I don't know that I want to spend $700 on another digital camera. I have a really nice Nikon digital camera, but I cannot do long videos on it. And even if I do, I can't get it to load from my... I'm using a lot of glue here, but it's coming out really slow. Jeez, I think I pee faster than this. Sorry. I'm kind of weird like that. Anyway, cameras. So I like my iPad. I don't have to tie up my phone to record. My phone will not download to my computer anyway. Well, it will, but all I get is sound and no visual, no video, no visual, just my voice. I'd rather it be the other way around, no voice and lots of visual, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so I don't know if you can really, I guess you sort of can. I know it's really bright. It's a dark day here. I have all the lights on. I have my new LED work light I got at Home Depot or Lowe's. I have my 2 lights on, and I still have shadows and all kinds of things happening. So, 'tis what it is. So I'm trying to get this pretty wet. The problem is you get it too wet, it curls up. You can tape it down, but then your corners where the tape is will not have anything on them. And that looks a little weird too. And I'm trying to put this on thicker. Now it's watered down glue. I did not measure. Don't measure. I don't measure. I don't measure unless I absolutely have to, because measuring means it's math, and I hate math. So there you go. So this is my dried tea that I just get out of tea bags. Oh, don't spill the whole thing. And I'm just going to, it doesn't take a lot. Like, I have a pinch between my fingers, and honestly, I don't know that you want it all that heavy because it is kind of a dark background. But this is so addictive to do. So addictive. And I want to try some of these purple flowers that I know I'm going to have to take off these stems. Of course, it helps if you take out a stem where there's flowers on it. No flowers here. All right. Oh, there's a couple. This one has pretty flowers on it. Oh yeah. And it doesn't take a lot. And of course, the flatter your plants or things that you use, the better the paper is going to come out. Oh, I think this is going to be a favorite because it has purple. Okay. I'm going to take some of these threads and I'm going to separate them. These are just threads that I pulled off of some fabric that I frayed. And I am going to break these up. I am going to be working on more ruffles. Thank you for asking. I'm going to be trying to keep up with the ephemera folios and make more of those so there's more in the shop. If you are watching and you requested an ephemera folio, you'll be getting a message from me later today. I did contact the first person that asked me after Gail showed her video. I'm using these little tiny, teeny tiny, and already the glue is drying. Let me tell you, see, it's not sticking. So the glue is already drying. You're not supposed to do that because, you know, now it's all going to be in my glue. But if you did request one, you'll be getting a message from me. The first person that requested one, I messaged her, and it took her almost an entire day to get back to me. And then I immediately asked her another question, and she has not gotten back to me. And that was at, I don't know, 6:30 this morning. So it's a little hard. I feel like I have to take first people first. You know, the first people that contact me. And then go from there. But if you don't respond quickly, I got to get these out of here. I worked really hard to get them done in a timely manner. And oh, this smells so good. It's lavender. Man, I opened that bag. It was like a whiff of lavender. If I doze off, you'll know why. I put lavender on a tissue every night on a Kleenex. And I put it on my Himalayan salt lamp next to my bed. And when that thing kicks in, I do not use a one of those things that spits the smell out. What's that called? Yes, I'm losing my mind. I have too many subjects in my brain right now. I don't use one of those. Diffuser. I don't use a diffuser. But I do have a Himalayan salt lamp, and I put a tissue on it with some lavender oil, and that's how I take it off. I take it off the sun lamp and turn the sun lamp off before I go to sleep, but that's what relaxes me every night. And it works. It works for me. Can't say it would work for you, but it works for me. Okay. I don't want this to get too heavy, but it needs something else. So I want little tiny bits of tea bag. Oops, stick please. Because I want that texture in there. Again, very dry. I'm trying not to touch anything that's already down. Oops, too big. Oh, I like this. So there will be more ruffles. There will be more fabric strips in the shop. There will be some new things coming. My word, and here's a question for you. What is your word for 2020? Because I just got my eyes done, and because of the reference of 2020, the year being 2020, I have chosen the word focus. I figured it was just way too obvious for me not to use it. Come on, get off my finger. Thank you. So my word for 2020 is focus, but it's not just vision. It's about many visions that I have for my life. I turn 64 this year. So does my husband. And I want to... That piece was not supposed to come off from over there. I want to focus on a lot of things in my life. we have had discussions about whether my business should be a main focus. And there's a part of me that would really love to be very successful at this and do a lot more with it and work on this 8 hours a day. And then there's a part of me that says, I've worked hard all my life, and I would like to take it easy. My problem is I'm obsessed with this stuff at this point. Totally obsessed with creating, and I've never had so much fun as I've been having with this stuff. Like this, and journals, and ephemera folios. And so, let's see, it needs something. Maybe. And these leaves are pretty stiff and can be pokey. So I'm going to, nope, the other side up. I'm going to break them off and use them. So I am trying to decide where I want to go with this. I do know that some of my goals for this year, as I've mentioned before, are to work on some digitals, but that's also going to involve a learning curve. I have figured out how to do some things, like I now know how to make a tag shape and a ticket shape using a different program other than the Adobe Photoshop elements that I have. However, when I use that program, then I have to manipulate it and do several things, take several steps to then change it into a JPEG. It's kind of a pain. I also would like to learn to get other shapes made. Gotta put some of this in there. But that requires me learning from the lessons on the Graphics Fairy, which I do belong to their premium site. But their tutorials, just in case you've been thinking about it, their tutorials for Photoshop Elements are good, but they are in a written format. They are not videos. And they are with a much older version of Photoshop Elements, and I have version 2019. And so some of the steps, believe it or not, don't always work. Ooh, I love this. Where did I just put that glue? I love these flowers. This is so much fun. I'm sorry, I'm distracted, but it's so much darn fun. Yes. All right, I'm going to call that good because I don't want to overdo it. So, there's many more pieces of paper to use these things on. And I'll tell you what, this coming spring, summer, and fall, I will be collecting all sorts of plant ephemera. Because I'll be using it. So I have little bits that have fallen off out of the bags and off the paper. So I'm going to gather those together. Okay. Now, napkin. So here's where you need your napkins with the print on them. And I'm going to use these. I only have 2 of them. They're the ones that the yellow rose is on. I just adore that one. Nope, this one has butterflies on it. It has plants and butterflies. And that is going to cover the whole thing. So, what I'm going to do is gently, I think this side shows better. Okay. I'm going to gently put that up there and not waste that other end of the napkin. Slide it up. And the napkins also have an interesting texture on the side. Now you don't want to rub this too hard because you don't want to rip your napkin. However, if you do, that's okay, because you can patch it up after, like I said before in the other video. Okay. I hope you can see that, the butterflies here. I hope they're showing up on camera. So, yeah, so I am really hoping to improve my digital paper skills enough to share those with you, possibly. I do have some scans to do. My word of the year is focus. That's where I was talking and then I got waylaid. So focus. I want to focus on my business. However, the questions arise as to whether it's going to be a major part of my life at 64 or a hobby. With all the rules and the regulations and the things you have to watch out for on Etsy and YouTube now, and the postage going up. My husband got an email from his work, and the office manager there was sent out an email stating that, I don't know why I don't put this over here, so I'm not reaching in front of the camera all the time. Sent out a message saying that even priority flat rate bubble envelopes, which is how I mail my journals, and I may start mailing the ephemera folios, is currently $8. That's just, you take the envelope in. That's not if you're using any packaging. You know, you want to package your stuff nicely when you send it out. I send other things. I try to send napkins or ephemera or things like that when I send out my packages as a thank you. And $8 for the flat rate priority 3 business day mailers. That you get the mailer free from the post office. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I have to order mine because the post offices around here don't carry that envelope. Because a lot of people use them. I think a lot of business people use them. You can put a lot in those envelopes. I think they're 9 by 12 or something like that. And they're bubble wrap. They're waterproof. Well, water resistant anyway. They're like a Tyvek on the outside. And they're padded. They're bubble envelopes, as I said. So I think that a lot of people use them, and the post offices can't keep them in stock. That, or they don't want you to use them because it's a great deal, really. $8 is a lot in shipping, and I hate having to charge people for it, but it's the best way for me to get something to you. It's the quickest, not the cheapest. However, that being said, I have mailed ephemera folios with a few napkins in them, wrapped nicely in tissue paper, and put in a Ziploc bag so it's waterproof in case it's pouring rain or something happens to it along the way, or it gets left on your doorstop and it's raining or snowing where you are. So I try to mail them very protected, and it costs over $7. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Some napkin came off on my other hand. It won't leave me alone. Ugh. It's glue after all, right? Glue and napkin. Oh, it won't come off my hand, darn it. Okay. So I have shipped in like just a manila, just a plain paper, not padded manila envelope, and it costs like $7 anyway. Well, when my husband got the email from the office manager, the priority flat rate is going up. I can't remember when he said. End of January? March? I don't know. Sometime this year. the cost is going up to $8.50. So now if I want to package it nicely, I have to charge you at least $9 because I'm putting things in tissue paper. I'm putting things in plastic bags so they're water safe. And I feel like that's something I need to do for my peace of mind. Plus, I send it first class with tracking because I sent one envelope out with something small in it to one of my subbies, and she didn't get it. It never arrived at her house. And so I sent my husband to the post office with it. Oh, that's the other thing. Oh my gosh, I had a blow up. Oh, I was so upset. All right, so let me finish this. So she never got the envelope, so I had to send her a whole new package. So I lost money on that deal. Now, I'm not angry about that, but it's not a good way to run business. First off, the person didn't get their package. Secondly, I lost money. What kind of business is that? It's not a very good one. Business is a struggle. Let me tell you, it's not easy to have your own business. I have tried several different small businesses, entrepreneurships, where I make things and sell them. It's not easy. It's a lot of work. And so, and then you get people that don't appreciate what you do. You do everything you can to help them. And, you know, one little thing might happen and they get very upset, turn you in, complain in public, send you nasty notes. It's not fun. So, okay. So I just tore the napkin there. So this is very, very wet still. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place another napkin over the top, but it's not going to be one with the design. It's going to be one, just a plain napkin. So you might think that you'll lose the design, but you won't, because this napkin becomes transparent when you put it over the top. Especially the really thin ones. The really thin ones are really good because you're just seeing right through them. Move this one down a little bit. All right. So I'm trying to avoid bubbles here. Now, I know someone's probably saying, use a credit card. You really can't. You'll tear the napkin. I mean, you could try, but you're probably going to tear the napkin. Now, I haven't even put glue on this, and see how well you can still see through it. So, I am starting to run out of time, so this is not going to go well. This is going to be another video coming. Maybe. But I'm being very careful with this one and trying to make sure there aren't any bubbles over the top of any of the leaves or anything like in the other one, because it really is a lot more fun when it shows through. I don't stress if I didn't get it. I mean, it was a learning experience. If I didn't get it glued down tight enough, or bubbles got created because I wasn't careful enough or I got impatient, you know, I'll live with that. It's just a different kind of texture, that's all. But I am trying very hard to get this to, and I'm putting a lot of glue on. And this glue is very wet. It's just Elmer's glue. I'm just using Elmer's glue and water. And like I said, I did not measure. So anyway, so I sent my husband to the post office one day with a package to our local post office that's right outside our neighborhood where we live. And he came home and told me the package cost him $7 to mail. And it was supposed to cost $3.50. Well, $3.60, but I charged $3.50. Oh my gosh, I went off. Now, I am like 73% Irish. I did 23andMe. And I'll tell you what, I went ballistic. And I didn't go ballistic against him as much as I explained to him that if that ever happened again, he is to take the package and walk out. But then the same thing happened to me. I went to the post office and I said, I want to mail this package. And it was in a, like a 7x9 envelope, and it was napkins. So it was not a stiff package, but you could tell it wasn't a letter. I said, I want to mail it first class with tracking. Now, this is not the priority $8 mail. This is first class with tracking. Get this. She told me it was going to be $7. I said, no, I'm not paying $7. I have been in here probably a dozen times. I have mailed the exact same package for $3.60. And she says, well, I can't, it's $7. And I asked her why, and she didn't explain to me why. So I said, well, I'll go elsewhere. Thank you very much. I'll find help with this somewhere else. Because I'm not paying $7 for a 7x9 envelope with napkins in it that costs $3 to purchase and $7 to mail with tracking. No. So I went to the, can you tell how upset I'm getting? I'm starting to yell at you. So I went to another post office in a small town near us. I love this. I'm just going to show you this real quick before I finish talking. Can you see that? Can you see the butterflies in the napkin? Yes, you can. If you're looking carefully, because I can see them looking in the screen. How pretty is that going to be when that dries? That's getting scanned. Trust me. So, okay, that one's going to go over there and dry. Excuse me. I'm getting excited now. So, okay. So here's what happened. I go to another post office in a small town further away. Takes 30 minutes to get there. I walk in and I'm next in line, and the gentleman says, how can I help you? And I said, I went to another post office and they told me this would cost me $7 to mail first class with tracking. And I have mailed the same packages, other packages exactly like this, for $3.60. Why is she charging me $7? And so he took the envelope and say this, literally, it's an envelope this size. And he goes like this. He said, if I can bend it, it's considered a letter. And if you want first class tracking, it's going to cost you $7. If I cannot bend this, it's a package and it'll cost you $3.60. What? So a letter, a piece of paper in an envelope that size would cost $7 for tracking. But if I put a piece of cardboard in that and you can't bend it, it's going to cost me $3.60 because it's a package? Okay, U.S. government, what the heck does that make sense of? I mean, really, like 0 cents with that at all. I could not get over it. He said, would you like some cardboard? I said, do you have some cardboard? He said, yes, I'll even help you do it. He helped me cut I cut the cardboard. He helped put it in the envelope. He gave me tape when this other witch over at the other post office that's right across the street from us didn't want to help me at all. Not at all. Didn't tell me why it would cost me $7. Didn't say, here's a piece of cardboard or make it stiffer with some more paper in it or anything. So a package, same size envelope package that you cannot bend because it has cardboard in it, which, by the way, will make it way more, will cost you $3.60 to mail priority as of a couple weeks ago. Who knows what it is today because, prices are always going up. But a letter that you can bend, same size, same envelope, would cost you $7. Go figure that one out. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, so unless I know I'm mailing an $8 flat rate priority envelope, bubble wrap envelope that I get free from the post office, the other envelopes I have to pay for. So you're not even getting charged for the envelope if I charge you $3.60 to mail you envelopes. I'm not paying for the tissue paper. I'm not paying for the baggie that I put inside. You're not paying for it. I am. I'm losing on those deals. So as a business person, it seems like a lot when you're charging someone $4 for tracking and for an envelope for a pack for, 5 or 6 napkins. But trust me when I say, if it doesn't have tracking, it can get lost. If it does have tracking, it can get lost. But at least if you have tracking, you can hold the post office responsible. It's insured for $50 automatically. Or I charge you $8.50 plus $1 for the baggie and the tissue paper I'm wrapping it in. And so and when the price goes up, it's going to be $8.50. So now I have to charge you $9.50 for priority 3-day flat rate mailing with tracking. I mean, what am I supposed to do? So sometimes it's not worth the struggle. You know what I'm saying? So focusing on my work, my business, that's why digitals are easy. They take a lot of time to create, a lot of research to find public domain pictures and stuff, images. But, I don't have to ship them to you. But I love creating things. I love using my hands and making things. So honestly, I don't know where that's going to go. And I don't know that it's worth the stress. Plus, we want to travel in our RV. My husband is trying to decide whether to retire. So yeah, it's something to focus on. 2020 is my focus year. Decision-making time. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to my rant. I have now gone to 1 hour and 40 minutes, which is a very long video. So I will put a disclaimer at the beginning. I will edit this video and put a disclaimer saying how long it is and that there's a rant at the end. And if you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. I totally understand. Or maybe I'll just edit that part out. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I love you. Go have yourself a warm cup of tea. I knew I could do it. I love you guys. Thank you for the comments. Please continue to comment. I am way far from 1,000 followers, but you know what? I'm not stressing over it. If you love me, you love me. If you hate me, you hate me. I got plenty of people who do. Both, I guess. Probably more haters than lovers. I hope 2020 is a fantastic year for you. If I haven't lost you by now and you stuck with me, I really, really appreciate it. You're the best. Comments, subscribe, thumbs up. Thumbs up, please, if you can. And I'll be back. I'll be back with part 3 of the Faux Made paper. Hugs, everybody. I need a cup of tea and more caffeine. Bye-bye.